Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Erick Tsang resigns, citing cancer risk. The city chief defends the mandatory seatbelt law as necessary for passenger safety, despite inconvenience. And ahead of his visit to Beijing, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said his country won't be forced to choose between China and the US. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Evan Bai. Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Erick Tsang has resigned from his post for health reasons, revealing that he's battling increasing risks of developing prostate cancer and needs more rest to focus on treatment. Chief Executive John Lee thanked him for his service and stressed there are no plans for further cabinet reshuffles. Shireen reports.
Tsang appeared alongside Lee at a press session this morning after the State Council announced his removal from the role of Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs. Lee said he fully understood and accepted Tsang's decision to step down.
The application by Erick Tsang to resign from his job because of personal health reason is fully appreciated. Principal officials' jobs are very demanding. Not just the workload is heavy, but the pressure is also heavy. So I can understand why Erick, under the present health condition, would like to take a rest so as to take care of his health problems.
我前列腺癌指數一直都係上升。
The 62-year-old minister revealed that his prostate-specific antigen index had been above 11 for some time, suggesting a substantially higher risk of prostate cancer. He has been undergoing regular checkups and taking medication, but his condition has not improved. After discussions with his family and doctors, he concluded it was best to step away from work for the time being to prioritize his recovery. He said he decided to resign after the Legislative Council elections last month. Lee expressed gratitude for Tsang's 39 years of dedicated public service. He confirmed that Under-Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Clement Wu will serve as acting secretary in the interim, while the government searches for a suitable replacement. The city's chief also addressed speculation about a broader cabinet shakeup.
There will be no further change of principal officials, particularly now we have so many things to do, and they are all doing as I require them to do, sharing my governance philosophy.
Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
During his nearly 4 decades of government service, Erick Tsang took the initiatives on election matters and the national anthem ordinance while being placed on the sanction list by the United States. Tsang joined the Immigration Department in 1987 as Assistant Immigration Officer and moved on to become Director in 2016. In April 2020, Tsang was appointed as Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs. Soon after taking office, he backed a national anthem ordinance that criminalizes insulting of the national anthem, which was passed amid protests. During the unofficial 2020 primary election organized by Democrats, Tsang warned they could violate the national security law. Subsequently, Tsang was among 11 senior officials sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department. During his tenure, he pushed amendments requiring district councillors to take oaths, pledging allegiance to the city and swearing to uphold the basic law. Following the revamp, 2 legislative elections and 1 district council election were held, though the voter turnout rate remained below pre-pandemic levels. Amid voices of public inconvenience, Chief Executive John Lee has reiterated that the newly implemented buckle-up or face a fine seatbelt rules are for safeguarding residents' safety. Jeremy Zhu has more.
From this past Sunday, passengers on buses and commercial vehicles must wear seatbelts where they're fitted. Violators face a maximum penalty of 3 months imprisonment and a $5,000 fine. Speaking ahead of the weekly Executive Council meeting, Li said the rule follows recommendations from an independent review committee set up after the deadly Taipo Road crash in 2018. He added that the measure will require a change of behavior, and while passengers may feel inconvenienced initially, this small change can potentially reduce serious injuries by 70% and fatalities by 40%. However, the city's leader added that authorities will exercise discretion under specific circumstances.
The law allows for a reasonable excuse, such as emergency or sudden special need, and those people will be exempted from liability. The government will handle each case based in a balance in law, reason, and compassion.
Li said the initial phase of implementing the new regulations will focus on public education, persuasion, and fostering new habits. The Transport and Logistics Bureau will conduct ongoing promotion and publicity campaigns. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Prosecutors wrapped up their opening statement today in the national security trial of the now-dissolved Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements of China, alleging that former leaders Lee Cheuk-yan and Chow Hang-tung incited subversion by promoting the slogan "End one-party dictatorship" in a context aimed at overthrowing state power. Cheryl Yun has the details.
The prosecution said Lee led chants of no national day, only national mourning at a 2019 National Day protest, which they described as denying the country's establishment and constitutional order. They also cited Lee saying dictatorial regimes should not continue and that he would stick to his stance even after the national security law took effect. For Chow, prosecutors highlighted a 2015 remark about needing to prepare for severe repercussions when challenging China's political system, as well as her later insistence on passing on the candlelight message despite changed circumstances, with all actions tied to opposing one-party rule. The prosecution argued that both defendants actively advocated and spread the call to end one-party dictatorship, even after the national security law came into force, urging the court to find the charges proven. The prosecution also said the court could consider applying the co-conspirator rule to hold defendants liable based on shared criminal intent. Defense lawyers noted they only learned of this on the trial's opening day and asked for clarification on its scope. Judge Alex Lee ordered the prosecution to file written submissions detailing the rule's application. To save time, Lee also suggested that video evidence playback be limited to footage of Tiananmen Square vigils in Hong Kong after China's 2018 constitutional amendment, which enshrined the leadership of the Communist Party as the defining feature of the socialist system. Lee adjourned the proceedings to Thursday to allow both the prosecution and defense to discuss this matter. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to arrive in Beijing tomorrow, marking the first visit by a UK leader in 8 years and immediately testing his pledge to not choose between China and the US. The Chinese Foreign Ministry, confirming the 4-day official visit, stated it stands ready to work with the UK on a new chapter in bilateral ties. Kun Ting-yang reports.
In Beijing, Foreign Ministry spokesman Guo Jiakun confirmed the British leader is set to meet with President Xi Jinping during his visit, followed by talks with Premier Li Qiang and top legislative leaders, as both sides seek to reset a relationship strained by disputes over Hong Kong security and espionage in recent years. The spokesman said Beijing hopes the trip will open a new chapter of healthy and stable relations, with both countries pledging to deepen practical cooperation and work together on global peace and security. Ahead of the visit, Starmer told Bloomberg he refuses to treat the US and China as rivals he must pick between, arguing that closer engagement with Beijing does not automatically anger the US president or weaken the Anglo-American alliance. He stressed that Britain will continue close cooperation with Washington in business, security, and defense, even as it seeks fresh opportunities in China's vast market. Starmer is traveling with a business-heavy delegation of around 60 executives, university and cultural leaders, underscoring his drive to boost trade and investment. After Beijing, he will move on to Shanghai, where British firms hope to secure new deals in sectors from finance and green technology to education and infrastructure. Quentin Ya, Cable News.
In a surprise move, U.S. President Donald Trump has reinstated tariffs on South Korea, raising them to 25%. He blamed the South Korean National Assembly for failing to rectify a trade agreement between the two nations. Jeremy Zhu reports.
In a social media post, Trump announced higher U.S. tariffs on South Korean automobiles, timber, pharmaceuticals, and other goods. Rates will revert from 15% back to 25%, the level before the two countries reached a trade deal. Trump said he had agreed with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung last July and finalized details during his October visit to Seoul, questioning why the legislature had not yet acted. In response, the ruling Democratic Party said it will seek to launch deliberation on a special investment bill related to the South Korea-U.S. deal next month. Under the terms, South Korea will invest $350 billion in the U.S., including $200 billion in direct capital, with the rest focused on shipbuilding cooperation. South Korean Finance Minister Koo Young-chol noted the weak Korean won makes it unlikely the plan will start in the first half of the year, though he hopes for swift progress. According to the South Korean Presidential Office or the Blue House, no official notice of tariff hikes has been received. They added that any U.S. tariff hike would require the completion of a series of administrative procedures before taking effect, meaning Trump's social media remarks would not immediately alter tariff rates. South Korean Industry Minister Kim Jong-kwon will visit Washington tomorrow to meet U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, while the Finance Ministry in Seoul vowed close communication with the U.S. on legislative updates. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
French lawmakers have voted to ban social media use for children under 15 years old in a bold move to shield young minds from the digital harm. The bill, championed by French President Emmanuel Macron, was passed by the National Assembly in marathon overnight session ending early Tuesday, with a decisive vote of 130 to 21. It now moves to the Senate for final approval, with the government aiming for the ban to take effect at the start of the next school year in September. Macron hailed the vote as a major step, declaring that the brains of our children and adolescents are not for sale. The legislation, which would also extend an existing mobile phone ban to high schools, positions France to become the second country in the world to enact such restrictions, following a similar ban for under-16s in Australia last December. Sporting goods giant Anta Sports is acquiring 29% of Puma for 1.5 billion euros, equivalent to 14 billion Hong Kong dollars, making it the largest shareholder in the German sportswear maker. The Fujian headquartered group will pay 35 euros per share in cash, which is 62% more than Puma's closing share price of 21.63 euros on Monday, up about 17% during the session. The deal with France's billionaire Pinault family is expected to be completed by the end of the year. Ding Shizhong, chairman of Anta Sports, said the acquisition marked a major step forward in its single-focus, multi-brand globalization strategy. Ding added that Puma's share price over the past few months does not fully reflect the long-term potential of the brand, expressing confidence in its management team and strategic transformation. Anta, established in 1991, owns Fila, Jack Wolfskin, Cullen Sport, and Maya Active, and is also the biggest shareholder of Amer Sports, which manages brands like Autorex, Salomon, and Wilson. Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 361 points. Top active stocks of the day. Tencent was up $7.50. Alibaba was up $4.70. SMIC was up $1.05. Xiaomi was up 34 cents. Foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar. Canadian dollar 5.69. Australian dollar 5.40. On to the weather now. Becoming cloudy, some haze at first. Cool tomorrow morning. The minimum temperature will be about 17 degrees in the urban areas and a couple of degrees lower in the new territories. Sunny periods during the day with the maximum temperature of around 21 degrees. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thank you for watching and good night.